This is health coach Rick. Pleased to be joined tonight by fellow health coach Stephanie. Hi, Steph. How are you?
Good. How about you?
I'm great. Thank you. Along with two program members that she works with, Greg and Ann. So, Greg and Ann,
Hi,
how's
Rick.
everyone in Wisconsin doing tonight?
Doing great.
Good.
Good.
It's
Warm weather, everything.
gorgeous here this time of year.
Yeah. I looked at the weather because we're cold here. It was kind of cold all day long here in Boston. You guys had some warm weather. I saw that. Well, thanks again for being here, guys. We are talking about something that is near and dear to, I think, everybody's hearts, the incredible changes that you can experience and really value in your lives when you lose weight successfully and when you're making positive lifestyle changes. And I think the term change sort of undersells tonight's topic, because what we are really talking about is the quality of your life, the actual day-to-day quality of your life experience. Obviously, that includes your physical health, your physical experience, but it also includes your emotional health and your emotional experience. It's all inextricably linked in there with quality of life, that term. Now, we have people watching who have different levels of experience with HMR. As I've shared with you guys, we've got our veterans who will be joining us here. But we also have very likely people who are much, much newer to HMR. Some people might even be just chiming in, looking at what this is all about and haven't even joined HMR. So either way, the theme is relevant to everybody. And here it is. You can accomplish so much with your weight, with your health, and with your quality of life if you take full advantage of what's possible with lifestyle changes. And the HMR program specializes in helping you to do that. So right up front, Greg and Steph, and I'd also invite those of you who are watching who have time and experience with HMR, I have a question. Let's speak to our newer folks who are watching. From your own experience, what words of encouragement would you provide as to what's possible, the positives that are out there, the possibilities with real lifestyle change? Greg, right off the top of your head, what's something that comes to mind for you?
Well, I think the big thing that comes to me is that, before HMR, I was getting into a position where I had to say no to everything. I mean, I couldn't move, I couldn't walk, I was in a very bad place, and I had to say no. And I think now I'm able to say yes to a lot more things. And whether that's, babysitting the grandkids or going on vacation with friends or, just going for a walk. I mean, I can say yes to these things where 3 years ago, when I started this, I couldn't do any of those things. I had to say no.
That's fantastic. What a dichotomy. Going from no to a lot more yeses. Fantastic, Greg. And what would you say to people who are newer about what's possible within the program and with lifestyle change?
I have to agree with Greg there. Not doing things and making excuses, and clothing wise, it was trying to hide everything, and it was hard to be with my kids. I felt that I couldn't, or they didn't want me to be with them because of the way I looked. So a whole life change here is, you're right. I can say yes to things, and then, I can do stuff with my kids, and that's just huge.
Huge. Hard to even describe it in this space. Stephanie, what would you add? You've got the perspective of helping to facilitate these changes for so many people.
Yeah, I think kind of just on what even Greg and Ann are mentioning, working with people in the program, you see when people first come to the program, they're experiencing those situations where they're telling you the group, like, I'm not able to do this or that, and I really want to be able to do these things. This is why I'm here. And it's cool to be able to see as people go throughout their journey in the program, how they just completely change that demeanor of, I got to do this and this, and they're excited to come back to the groups next week, the following week. And they're like, I was able to do this, and I haven't done this in this many years. I think that's just such a cool experience for everyone as well. It's amazing.
it just can be so positive. You know, the no is so negative, the yeses are so positive, but then the trepidation people feel coming into the program, and then how things start to open up. We'll talk a lot more about that here tonight. It's really great. We've got quite a few people joining us here, guys. Let me just say thank you, Jennifer, for letting me know that my feed was only showing the speaker. So hopefully that has been rectified. We now are in gallery view. A lot of talk about the weather, guys, about Boston being nice in the autumn, and that it is cold in Western Mass. So, guys, thanks for joining us here. Dana, greetings. Bob, Helen. Hey, Helen. So glad to have you here for this conversation. And Catherine as well. Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Ann. You know Catherine. She's saying hi to you.
Hi, Catherine.
Oh, hi, Catherine.
Great. Tanya, awesome. Really love it. So the bottom line here is people really can improve and protect their quality of life so much more than the average person can even imagine. And some people even get very jaded about the possibilities. So we're trying to open up that whole view here with tonight's conversation. So with that, let's get into the experience of our guests here. What was it like before HMR? And then we'll get into your experience in the program, Greg and Ann. And what I would just ask for those of you listening, again, some of you are newer, some of you have been with HMR for some time now. Listen to each story, maybe through the lens of your own experience, and see if there are aspects to what Greg and Ann share about life before HMR that resonates with you. And if so, let us know. You're part of this conversation. We'd like to see you contributing in the comment section. So Greg, take us through it a little bit. Life before HMR.
Well, hey, 40 years ago, I was a college athlete, and, I used to just go through life and eat and drink and do whatever I felt. And, after I retired from being an athlete and moved on to family and career, I didn't change. And, I was just in a mode where I probably gained a couple of pounds a year for 20 years. And all of a sudden I weighed 300 pounds. And then, about 10 years ago, I contracted the osteoarthritis, and all the joints below the waist really became very painful. And I put on about 100 pounds in a year and ballooned to well over 400 pounds. Mm-hmm. And, having been a pretty self-sufficient guy my whole life, I got to the point where, I couldn't take care of myself anymore. I couldn't walk. I didn't fit into anything. I couldn't fit in airplane seats. I couldn't fit in chairs. I couldn't climb stairs, to go to a baseball game. I couldn't do anything. And I was in a really bad place. And I think as I've talked often in my group, I did one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. I raised my hand and I said, I need help. Yeah. And through the help of my physician, recommended HMR. And I gave it a shot, and I said, I have to do this. I have to find help. I can't do it on my own. The yo-yo dieting, the fad diets, all of the crazy things, that I thought I knew about health and nutrition. I said, something's wrong here, and I have to figure it out. Yeah. And that's really where I came from. I was near living in a wheelchair. Yeah,
extraordinary. That's incredible, Greg. Greg, when we spoke last week, all of us, you mentioned, it was so interesting. You said that there were like best practices that you apply in your company and in your business, and they make all the sense in the world, but that somehow you weren't applying some of those very things that work to support behavior change. Say a little bit more about that. That was like really interesting.
Yeah, it was one of the things, it was one of the epiphanies I had early in phase one in HMR, where, we talk about goals and strategies and, how we affect change. And, it just occurred to me that, these are the things I've been doing in business as a small business owner my whole life, is setting a goal, developing a strategy, applying tactics, find what works, fail quickly, change, do something else, measure your results. And, these are the things that HMR taught me to do for me personally, as well as to elevate my personal well-being in my life's priorities, because I think as I was going through life with kids and grandkids and businesses and things, I mean, I did not have my personal health as the right priority in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very common, what you just said, to not apply some things that would make a lot of sense in other areas of life. There is this whole sort of ethos culturally of willpower and, just do it. And, people should be able to just sort of figure this area of their life out. And clearly that's not the case. So I just love that story. Thanks for taking us through that. Ian, before you share a little bit about your story, I just want to acknowledge, first of all, thank you, Greg, for sharing your story. Fabulous. Marsha Mulcahy, she's one of our top fans. And as we're talking about life before HMR, I'm just looking at the feed here. Jennifer shared pre-HMR, I was well on my way to losing mobility and being in a wheelchair also, Greg. So she really could relate to that. I was almost always sick. My asthma was horrible, constantly needing my inhaler just to get from my apartment to my car. So again, we're talking about quality of life compromises pre-HMR, whatever they are. Again, I'm asking.
No, I would go to an event or a cocktail. I couldn't stand up for more than 5 minutes. I was always looking for a chair.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Brenda's comment here. We get so busy with our families that we forget about ourselves. Boy, how many people can relate to that comment? Where are you on your list of priorities? Is so many people like not even in the top 5?
Right.
Yeah. And yet, one more comment here, Shane, who's always partnering with us on our Facebook Lives and whatnot, he said, I was super skeptical about HMR in the beginning. HMR opened so many doors for me. I've now avoided knee surgery. I'm off blood pressure meds, and I'm so much of a better father and husband. So isn't that interesting? I have to take care of my family, so I can't work on myself. And yet paradoxically, you work on yourself and all of a sudden the doors open and you are actually showing up in a bigger and more powerful way for your loved ones. Really cool. Love those comments, Greg. Thank you for that. Anne, take us through it. Take your time here. Your story it's unique in many aspects. But the gravity of it, I think people can relate to because everyone has their own challenges.
That's true. Everybody has a journey and a story. So probably about 15 years ago, I was diagnosed with major depression, and a lot of help was needed to get through that. Lots of help outside the home, everything. I was in a dark place. All of those things that I used in my toolbox there were starting to get me to a brighter life, but I still wasn't happy. And when you talk about putting yourself first, I was a teacher 3 years ago, health and phy ed, and I put my students and my kids first. I was going into school 2 hours early, staying 3 hours late, going in on weekends. And then 3 years ago, I hit a brick wall. I was diagnosed. I went in thinking I had asthma. I was thinking, I've gained all this weight. I've tried to lose, blah, blah, blah. I went in my doctor's office. I said, I think I have asthma. I've never had asthma before. He said, well, let's take a listen and make sure you don't have pneumonia and all that other stuff. Then he took an x-ray. And soon after the x-ray, he called me in his office and said, you need to see a pulmonologist. And I said, why? Well, he showed me my lungs and he said, well, this is going on in your lungs. In my head, I was like, okay, what do I do to make it better? How do I make it go away? And my pulmonologist, I saw him probably a couple days later. He looked at me and said, Anne, I'm referring you to the transplant team, and you will need a double lung transplant.
Wow.
Whoa. Are you kidding me? Another part of the story you don't really know about is a month prior to that, my dad had a double lung transplant. Totally different disease, same outcome. Oh my gosh, that deep dark hole that I was in 15 years ago, I fell straight to the bottom. I did not see any way out. I couldn't breathe. And I wanted my quality of life, and I was wearing oxygen 24/7 just to stay alive.
Mhm.
And it dictated my life. And that really, really bothered me because I was never a person to let anybody tell me what to do. And now I was letting a machine do it.
Mm. Mm.
The biggest thing was I was sitting in my doctor's office, and she basically said, you can't have a transplant. Or actually, I was called by the nurse, and she said, you won't qualify. Your BMI is too high. You have to lose weight. I didn't know what to do. So many things were happening at that time. We were trying to figure out how I got this disease. I did so many things. And then I said to my husband, I said, there's this HMR diet that I have been talking about with so many people at my pulmonary rehab. I said, I'm going to go check it out. I'm just going to check it out. And he was like, oh, okay, go ahead. But it was the best thing. Oh my gosh. Like I said last week, it broke down that brick wall.
Yeah.
And
Hold on.
moving
Pause
forward.
on that. Pause on that. I want to just share with you. First of all, Brenda is saying to you, and thank you so much for sharing your story. And Marsha, thank you for sharing your life with us. I wanted to, maybe you were going to talk about this. I didn't want you to get past this. Would you just share with the audience the moment on the beach? We're going to show a photo, a pre and post photo.
Yes.
There's 2 beach photos there. So I think it's fabulous context for you to share about that with the audience.
That beach photo is taken the spring after I was diagnosed.
Mhm.
And I was sitting in the chair, and I love the beach. We're down in Florida, listening to the waves, thinking about the dolphins that I swam with, all that stuff. And I was sitting with my friend next to me, and all of a sudden I just started crying. And I called my husband. He's like, what's going on? And my friend says, what's happening? And I said, I don't know if I'll ever see this again. This might be my last day here, because I don't know if I'll make it another year. So I made it.
Wow.
3 more.
For both of you, Greg and Ann, these certainly were dark days. Steph, do you remember when our guests came into your clinic and any of those early days working with them?
I absolutely remember getting to work with Anne when she first came to the program. And I absolutely remember her sharing a little bit about her story, even just the tidbits that she did. And I was amazed at her coming to the clinic, and her whole big thing was like, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna prove them wrong, and I'm gonna get the BMI where I need to, and I'm going to make this happen. The pure determination, like she said, just almost like you mentioning someone, you finally jumped the gun on it and you're like, I'm going to do this. And there was no changing your mind by any route from anyone in that sense.
Great.
It was inspiring when you first came to the clinic. I know, Greg, I've gotten to work more closely in phase 2 of the program with, and just being able to see his whole entire journey with the mobility and being able to move more and do things, and the change in his activity. They joke in our group all the time that he's just this huge inspiration. I call him Mr. HMR.
Stephanie is my third coach with HMR, Rick, and I've been really fortunate to have three great coaches out of our clinic.
Wonderful. Well, we're about to hear a little bit more about each of your experience there. Let me just, for people who are joining, and I see fellow health coach Gina has joined us. What a story, just incredible to you. And hey, Gina, so glad to have you joining us here. Our theme is that you can accomplish so much with your weight, with your health, with your quality of life by taking full advantage of the HMR program and the lifestyle changes that you can make with us. So we're talking about now turning the corner, coming into the program. And I'm going to we'll start with you, Ann, just for continuity. I'd like to share the beach photos,
Sure.
and your pre and post, if I could.
Sure.
And as I'm doing that, why don't you talk a little bit about coming into phase one and what it was like to lose weight in phase one with HMR?
You know, you guys hit it right on the head with determination. I made a promise to my family, to myself, that I was going to do this. There was no turning back. And I had to follow the protocol. And it wasn't just about the food. It was about the exercise. It was about the accepting myself all over again. Being okay with asking for help. That was huge. I've never in my life, I still struggle with it. But I look at that picture and I just, oh my gosh. And look at what happened. And oh my gosh. To me, it's amazing. You know, we all struggled at the beginning, but my determination, my support from coaches, doctor, family, just, you know, my oldest son would be like, Mom, you're off the diet on that one. Oh, you're right. I need to not eat this. So I made a commitment, and a lot of people, my sister-in-law, one of them said, I don't know how you can do this. I don't know how you can be so determined and so good on this. And so the positive feedback like that, it was hard, but
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You made a comment that, and I would ask for those of you who are watching, who are newer to HMR, if you're coming into phase one, hopefully you are aware, you know, we work with a very tight diet structure. We call it being in the box, very low calorie foods. You can eat a lot of them. So you made a commitment. You were very committed to being in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Say a little bit more about that. And then you also talked about, if I could quote you here from my note, thank God for more is better.
Yes,
connect those two concepts for, especially, you know, for newer people, but also for people who are in phase one. And, you know, if this is inspiring and this might be an opportunity for you to relook at the extent to which you're pushing yourself to be in the box, because that's where the fastest weight loss resides for you. So
yeah. Being in the box, you know, I went in and sometimes, and I hear this a lot from my classmates, that we were embarrassed to say we're on this diet. We were embarrassed to say we have to eat this food. And it wasn't like we have to, it was, we want to. And the food is delicious. And there's so many endless combinations. And so that to me was, I think a lot of people thought, well, you're buying meals and how many can you eat? You can only have this and count calories. And I said, well, you know what? Their motto is more is better. If I want 5 shakes today, I can have 5 shakes today, you know? And I just felt like I never was hungry. I didn't have to starve myself. I didn't have to restrict myself.
mm-hmm.
And I had such a variety. That was awesome.
And let me just say, Barbara, who's in the chat, she's in phase one. She's in the decision free, which if people look at the bottom of the slide, that's the plan you did.
Yes.
You did decision free. So what she said is, I'm afraid of more is better. Please respond.
Oh, gosh. You know, at first I was too. I thought, man, if I just only eat 3 meals and 2 shakes, but I was hungry. And then I went, you know what? I'm going to eat another meal. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have another shake. And you know what? As I ate more and I came to Stephanie weekly, I saw the weight coming off, and I reinforced that I can do this. I don't have to be hungry. I can eat and do all this. And I was indecision free, which seems like forever when you're in it and really hard when you start, but it actually helped.
Mm-hmm.
And I can reinforce that, Rick. I mean, you know, I hit a plateau when I made the transition from phase one to phase two. And, you know, I talked with my coach about it, and she was like, Rick, you got to eat more, because I was still very strict about okay, I'm going to have my 3 meals and my 2 shakes, every day. And fruits and vegetables were never a problem. But, I added a third shake. I started doing 3 shakes and 3 meals every day. And I got right back on track losing weight.
Yeah. Yeah. You're getting, people are echoing both of your comments here, Bob, Garrison. More is better has been a real lifesaver for me. Susan, hi, Susan. More is better is the only reason I was able to have long-term success. Without it, I would have just fallen off the wagon too quickly to see the results. And that really is that's the mechanics of more is better right there. So I'm speaking to Barbara, who said she's afraid of it. There's nothing magic about the foods. The fact of the matter is you're eating very low calorie foods where you can eat a lot of them and be full and satisfied. And that insulates you from the higher calorie foods that are so easy to pick on. And those slow down your weight loss, the higher calorie foods, because there's so many calories in such small packages in foods that are outside the box.
Yeah.
So the more is better is it's just a calorie equation. Ann or Greg, anything else you'd say there?
I mean, there are endless amounts of meals that you could create with all the different meals. And then HMR is switching some of them up and the bars and all that. I was excited the first time I said, hey, Stephanie, I made a shamrock shake. So I took a shake and I put green food coloring in it and a little bit of mint. And lo and behold, I had my shamrock shake. And my kids started drinking them too. They loved them.
Yeah.
Rick, I was always a binge eater. And I was it's probably one of the reasons why I always failed and yo-yo dieted, because I was always a volume eater. And, with the more is better concept, I really feel I eat more volume, since HMR than I did before I started HMR. I'm just making better decisions. And, the stats better than I, but, I average, as Stephanie knows, I average 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. So I'm eating 70 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. That's more than most families eat, let alone one person. And, so I am never hungry. It's one of the things I've learned with this program and enjoyed so much about HMR is I'm never hungry. It's just making better choices.
Yeah. And Greg, we're going to show photos of you in just a moment, but just remind people how much weight you've lost. And you've just said, I'm never hungry, and you eat a large volume of food. So what's been your success in the program? Just overview it.
Well, again, talking about that phase 1 experience, I'm down 160 pounds right now. I think I think that's interesting about my story, is that I lost that in about 13 months. I lost that 150 pounds in 13 months. That's how quickly I lost it. And as you see in my before picture, I wasn't going to hide anything from anybody. It's one of the things I kind of joke with people I've brought into the program is to say, listen, it's not a secret. People know you have a weight problem. You can't hide it. And I sure didn't. But, I think, in phase 1, my experience was, number one, I was never hungry. So it was easy for me on the state of program. And then the content that I learned from my coaches at that point was again, really an epiphany for me. Just learning about health and nutrition and all the fallacies and, all of the bad habits we learn from our parents and our friends. And, as I've written up and talked about, I made some non-negotiables in my life, and they were very hard non-negotiables, that I just said, I am never going to do these things again. And one of the big ones for me was I gave up business lunches. As I looked at my lifestyle and what I did, I was eating too much food through the car window, and I was going out to business lunches, as a business owner, way too often. And it was killing me. I just couldn't go down to the, corner restaurant and have another bacon cheeseburger. And I haven't in 3.5 years. And when people ask me to lunch now, I use it as an opportunity to talk about health and nutrition and HMR. I mean, I don't hide it. I'm an evangelist for this stuff and healthy eating. And I think it's rubbed off on my kids and my grandkids and my coworkers and everyone else. So I think that's, my epiphany in phase one is that number one, I think Ann talked a little bit about acceptance. You got to kind of accept where you are, and you got to commit to some permanent changes to say, hey, I'm going to change these things. And again, my non-negotiables were, I am never going to eat food through the car window again. And I haven't in 3.5 years now. I have not gone through a drive-through in 3.5 years. I mean, I have some others that I have, but we don't have to get into all of those. But, that's been my experience in phase one. Now, my story is a little unique is because I lost this weight, and not since then, I've had 4 orthopedic surgeries. I've had 4 joint replacements below my waist.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking before the program. I was in a cast for 9 months last year. I mean, I was immobile for 9 months after I've lost this weight. And one of the things I really feel great about is that I went through 9 months in a cast last year, and I didn't gain anything. I maintained my weight loss, and because I stuck with the program, and I said, hey, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get healthy, and because of my arthritis beforehand in phase one, my program was a little different, Nan. I mean, I really struggled with getting PA. Having been an active guy in my youth, I mean, being able to exercise it was painful. I was on pain meds. I couldn't walk. I couldn't stand. I couldn't climb a flight of stairs. I mean, it was really hard for me to get my PA in. I mean, I tried, but, I probably went that first 9 months without doing any PA. And, not now, I mean, I'm, getting back to where I should be. I mean, as we've talked, because I can't do impact stuff because of my joint replacements, I ride bikes, and, I do at least 80 miles a week on my bike. And, when I first started exercising, I might have been able to do 10 minutes before I was totally exhausted.
Mm.
And, now I can do 3-hour bike rides, and it's happened so quickly.
Steph, you must be so proud hearing this. I mean, for those who've just joined, Greg shared that he was very close to living in a wheelchair, and now listen to that level of exercise. What's your response to some of the success that he's sharing here, Steph?
Oh, yeah. I love when Greg talks specifically about where he's been in the past with the physical activity and exercise, because it is such a shift that he's had. Where now he's coming to the groups in his check-ins with me. He's like, he'll drop it so nonchalantly. So I did a 30-mile bike ride and this, and, I did this. And I'm like, who is this person? He's like, it's totally different from even a year and a half ago. It is amazing to see the pure excitement that he gets out of finding an activity that fits with what he can do, and like totally enjoys it. Talking about even buying gear for, trekking outside in the winter time, as well, looking for all those opportunities to keep up that movement.
Yeah, it's pretty rare when someone starts to break through the, whatever glass ceilings that were imposed, or even real ceilings with the physical challenges, and they are starting to do more PA, where they say, I do it, but I don't like it. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard that in 32 years with HMR stuff. It just doesn't tend to be what you hear. Boy, so many comments, guys. There's no way I can reflect them all in here. Please make a point to rewatch the video. Ann and Greg, it was really great. Go ahead, Ann.
I was going to say, Greg said, eating through the window. I don't know if Stephanie remembers my Big Mac story. 1 week I said, I did my midweek, and I said, I lost 2 pounds and I did all this exercise, and I celebrated with a Big Mac. And then the next, I left it at that. And then I sent her another email right away. Just kidding. She emailed back, I almost fell off my chair. So, I mean, that was my thing. I loved Big Macs. I cannot even think about what that would do to my gut right now. It just, yuck.
A lot of people loved, Greg, the no food through the car window. Again, you had shared, you've got 4 non-negotiables. You want to just run through them again, just in case?
Sure. And
Before-
again, some people just say, how can you do that? But yeah, business lunches was one, food through the car window, because I used to always, I mean, one of the big things that HMR has taught me is to plan. And again, this was this basic concept we always use in our life, but we never plan our meals. And I was always running out the door in the morning, hitting the drive-through to work because, oh, I'm running late, and let's just pick up a breakfast sandwich or a latte or whatever. And, or it's Friday night and you're coming home, oh, I got nothing in the house. Let's go out to dinner. Let's get a pizza or something like that. But, food to the car window, business lunches were a killer for me. I have given up pizza. I haven't had a pizza in 3.5 years. I think as I look at as you read the nutrition and the calories that come in a pizza, pizza is the devil as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And finally, I mean, and one of the things that I know is hard for a lot of listeners and something that was really hard for me, but I gave it up because it's just empty calories. I've given up alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
I have really, I mean, Ann talks about her splurging. I think I did have 2 beers last year at events, in my phase 2 life that I celebrated with, but I've probably had maybe 2 or 3 beers in the last 3.5 years.
It's great. It's really great. So many good ideas there. I'll just, Shane sort of summarizes a lot of different comments here by saying to you, Greg, preach it, brother. Just Stephanie, real quick, I wanted to, you've heard these non-negotiables here. I mean, presumably you've picked the ones that work for you. I think that's an important point to linger on here for a moment. Everyone to produce some changes in your experience with your weight and your health, you are going to have to come up with some non-negotiables, but Greg's non-negotiables are Greg's non-negotiables. You might have 2 non-negotiables and they may have no overlap with his, and Ann's are different from Greg's. And that's part of the process. It's a process. It's an ongoing process of discovery of, what are some compromises you can live with because it's worth it. And again, that brings us back, guys, to our theme: quality of life changes, physical changes, emotional changes that make whatever compromises you've decided to live with all more than worth it. So let's talk a little more about quality of life here. I want to just share a very quick story. I've mentioned Shane here, who is in the comments. I popped into Shane's phase 1 class last week. It was a blast. Shane, thanks for letting me crash that party. And we were having a conversation that was sort of in the vein of the one we're having here tonight, where people were talking about some of the benefits that they've experienced from being in the program. And this is a phase 1 class, okay? And this woman, Sherian, who I asked her if I could share this story, and she gave me permission. The comment she made was, doing this program, my whole life has opened up. And I just sat back for a minute and I thought, so wait a minute. She's gone from before HMR, the wide world of food choices and, no limits on any socializing. And now she's in the weight loss box. And yet her experience of that is that her life has opened up. So I asked her for a few more comments, and here's what she wrote. Before HMR, I had accepted that I was old, that I was overweight, and that I was destined to be inactive. I see now that this was a lie my mind had told me. I can lose weight, I can be active, I can eat healthy, I can be happy and confident. Move over, Wonder Woman. So here's a question for our audience, for those of you who have experience. Ann and Greg, I'd like your thought on this. Does the high level of structure of phase 1, does the experience of sort of taking the reins around your health habits and experiencing the weight loss, does that actually open up your life in a way, even though in theory you're adding structure to your food choices? So that's a question for people in the audience. Has the high level of structure of the program actually, almost paradoxically, opened up your life in certain ways? Ann, what would you say about that?
You're saying that, was here. I'll tell you, I was even in a smaller little box. And this program has actually literally saved my life. I would not probably be here. and I would not be a candidate for a transplant. And that was hard to face, talking about my own mortality with my family. But oh my gosh, this program, like I said, the walls went away. Even though I was in that little spot, it was so huge, and literally saved my life.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I think I've written it saved my life too. But I think one of the things when we say about expanded opportunities, your opportunities change. I mean, and this change is really hard, Rick, because our culture today, is built around food and alcohol. And if you don't eat grandma's brownies, you don't love her anymore. I mean, this food and love concept is just so challenging.
Yeah.
And we're all surrounded by food pushers, that, take the second plate at Thanksgiving and, and all that. And, I think HMR has really helped me think through all of those things. And how do you deal with alcohol? How do you deal with cocktail parties? How do you deal with events and holidays and Christmas parties and all of those temptations? And I think, again, HMR has given me the strategies, and the tactics to work through all of those things and say, how can I enjoy all of those things and still maintain my healthy lifestyle and my healthy eating habits?
It's great. Really well said, Greg. And you mentioned, actually, both of you did your experience with HMR. It's just so much more than a diet, than just a diet. What would you add to Greg's comments there?
I'm sorry, what?
And what would you add to Greg's comments about?
Oh God, yeah. Wow. I'm kind of speechless. The opportunities, it was so, for me, it's awesome because I taught about the combination of so many things to make your life a healthy life. And what is healthy? Well, it's a lifestyle, it's a lifelong, and it can't just be one entity, like just diet or just physical activity or mental health. There's a whole pie that has all these pieces, and you want them to kind of be the same size. And for me, the physical was really small, and the healthy eating was kind of small. And then I was compensating with giving everybody else my time. And you know what? It was time to put myself and look at my pie. And so I truly believe that the combination of the physical activity, the learning how to make food and it tastes good, with the different seasonings and all this other stuff, and trying vegetables I never thought I would try. And then of course my mental health. I've already, talked somewhat about that, but just appreciating the little things. Like, it's just the little things. Like, I got so excited when I could do a push-up. I could tie my shoes without getting breathless.
Yeah.
So I think it's the combination of everything that helps make it be possible.
Wonderful. Talk about life opening up, even the little things. We asked this question, Steph, earlier in the week on the Facebook page, quality of life, things that you are able to do now that you've been participating in the program. Liz wrote, I can now get on the floor and run and play with my grandkids. Stacy wrote, I can walk without pain. I mean, to have walked with pain and now to be without it, my God, what a difference. Toby, I just realized today I can go up and down the stairs in our home like it's no big deal. So I would ask our audience to think one more time on this question, and Ann and Greg, one last time for both of you as well. Things that you're able to do now that absolutely impact your day-to-day quality of life, whether it be physical, whether it be emotional. Let's turn the corner here and have a few more examples of what's possible when you make some lifestyle changes through the help of HMR. As you guys are thinking about that, I'll just share a couple of great ones here. Rita, hi Rita. Rita was was in this space just a month or two ago. HMR opened up my life. I now run half marathons. It has warded off medical issues that my parents had at this age. I also believe it boosted my career because many prejudices that others had fell away. Very powerful. And then Susan, for me, adding more structure to my diet meant opening up a whole lot more choice with my activity and my wardrobe. And that's important. I mean, if it impacts your quality of life, how you feel and look in your clothes, then it's just as important as any of these other factors. So Greg, something else that
Hey, one of the things I did this year that I hadn't done in 3 years that I always enjoyed, and it's a great year to do that because they're going to be in the playoffs. But I went to a Milwaukee Brewers game for the first time in 3 years. And, it was one of those things I always said no to because hey, I'd have to go and I'd have to find somebody a golf cart to take me from the parking lot to the stage. And, I couldn't walk up the stairs. And then I didn't even fit in the chairs. I was sitting on the edge of the seat the whole time because I didn't even fit in the chairs. This year I went to the Brewers game for the first time. I didn't have to worry about handicap parking. I walked from the parking lot and went up the stairs, up the ramps, fit in the seats. And, it's just one of those things that I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed, going to a sporting event. I went to a high school football. I love going to the high school football games on Friday nights. I went to my homecoming here locally recently at home, and I walked up the stands and sat in the bleachers. And again, in talking about walking up the stairs and not even worrying about it, it was wonderful again to be able to say yes to those things.
Yes, really great. Barbara says I can hike with my dogs. Wonderful, just wonderful. Anne, any other things that really stand out for you in terms of?
Oh gosh, yes. My lung disease is not going to go away. It's not. When I started, I was on oxygen 24/7. And I have a 50-foot hose that followed me all over my house. And sometimes I could only go so far in my house. I still wear it at night, but I can just leave the hose upstairs for most of the time. So if you notice in the picture, I was wearing oxygen. I actually went in the ocean. My son held up my concentrator so I could go in the ocean. And now it's not that my lungs are any better, but the weight that has been shed from my body has allowed my body to function more efficiently. And when I'm at rest like this, I can be without oxygen for most of the time.
Beautiful.
And
wow.
To me, that was like a whole, it was like being free. I wasn't like tethered to a machine. And so that's huge for me.
It's so obvious, obviously the physical difference there, but emotionally, clearly, that is making such a difference for you just hearing you speak about it. You mentioned the word free and freedom. Brenda in the comment section, guys, wrote, I hated trying to figure out what to eat. I have more freedom now because I know what to do and what to eat. So she's talking about actual freedom around food. What a concept, as opposed to food is the enemy. Far less food stress now than I am with HMR. Does that make a difference in one's quality of life, Steph? Mm-hmm. Much less food stress? Boy.
Yeah.
Really, really great. As we sort of turn the corner here, and I want to just thank everyone in the audience for you yourselves being so generous with your comments, sharing about different aspects of your life. I was really excited. I told you guys this about the topic tonight, the quality of life, just because it makes such a difference. So much boils down to it. I had took a moment with a few senior staff just to ask them, what does it mean to you to have a higher quality of life relative to health? By the way, the three people I asked, two of them in my family, all three collectively have over 100 years of experience with HMR, almost close to 110. So the first one was my sister, Mariah, who actually got me into HMR. I said, you should consider this as your career. I was an engineer, Greg, just like you. And I asked her this morning, I said, what does it mean to you having a higher quality of life? And she wrote, she thought about it. All of them were very thoughtful. She wrote, peace of mind about my health, freedom from fear and no second guessing about whether or not I'm taking care of this important part of my life, my health. A big part of my quality of life comes from the certainty that I'm on the right track. So again, a very strong emotional endorsement there. I also asked my longtime colleague, Nancy, who's in the chat space here, and who many of you have seen in this Facebook Live space many, many times, a big pause with her answer. Quality of life for me is about feeling good. Then she went on to say emotionally, certainly, but also not being limited, being able to do what I want to do. And she listed several things, from going on rigorous hikes to, as we heard earlier, just playing with your children. And then the final person was my older brother, Bill. So Bill's a health coach. It's been with HMR for over 30 years. He said, and he said it very quietly, I don't think I can do it justice here. He said, this is a conversation about my future. I want to age gracefully, and doing that and doing the right things now sets me up for the type of future that I want. And it sets my day up for today too. So I don't know if you guys can relate to any of those, but those are some additional, just powerful points about the importance of quality of life. Let me, final question. And Greg, I think you in particular, I added this because of something you said in our interview last week. There is a published survey. We've shared it on a previous Facebook Live event that it asked about people's opinions about weight loss and lifestyle change. And the results of this survey have never-endingly fascinated us at HMR. There were two findings. You guys ready? I want you to comment on this. First, they found that people placed a high value on losing a lot of weight. Oh, that's not a big surprise. But the same people also placed a high value on not wanting to make lifestyle changes. So on one hand, yes, I want to lose a lot of weight, but on the other hand, well, no, I don't really want to work at it. So Greg, sort of teeing it up for you here, because you said you seem to notice the people that had the most extraordinary results at HMR tended to have, one thing in common, both feet in. What would you say to what's your comment about this survey result? I want to lose weight.
I mean, it's life. I mean, everybody wants that quick pill, that quick solution, that easy solution. They want that lottery ticket. I want to, win my $1 million, and that's just not the real world. I mean, to affect permanent change, to lose weight, you have to affect some permanent changes. For depending on your situation, in my case, starting in at a BMI of over 55, I had to make some pretty serious changes. For people that started a different place, as you said, their non-negotiables, maybe a little different. Mm-hmm. But, you're not going to make effective permanent change, and lose weight, without accepting some of the realities of life that, hey, you're going to have to make some changes. And I'm tempted to say sacrifices, but they don't have to be sacrifices. For example, I've given up alcohol, and some people I've talked to a lot of, I could never do that. That's an unbelievable sacrifice. Well, you know what? I've gone 3.5 years now, and I don't miss it. Yeah, I may have a beer once or twice a year, and I really enjoy it when I have a beer once or twice a year. But, that's a sacrifice I've made because I feel better, and I can, again, say yes to things. And, I can do things that 3.5 years ago I couldn't, because I was sitting on the couch, and, it was killing me to get to work every day. I had trouble walking from the parking lot to my office. It was so bad.
Yeah. Reality-based thinking. That's the term I think I want in your response there, looking at what are the realities here and what are the trade-offs, but the whole theme of tonight, what are the benefits? And what would you add to that? People high value on losing weight, but not if making lifestyle changes.
Well, I want to add on that, truthfully, I was not coming into this thinking I would lose weight very rapidly. Wham, bam, I was losing weight. And I can tell you, my doctors, nurses, everything that were in my team were saying, well, how are you doing this? Because they thought I was starving myself. And one of the big things with the lung transplant is they want to make sure that you're going to stay committed to the program. You're going to do the things they ask you to do. And I've done everything and beyond. And so, yeah, and the other thing I have to add too, for the people that are in that decision free, I just have to quick add this, that I was kind of weirded out about bringing meals to like a restaurant and stuff. Well, guess what? I warmed up stuff in a thermos, brought it to a nice restaurant, asked for a plate. Nobody else knew that it was going to be any different than the people I was with. I even brought it to my brother's wedding. So you can do it. You can do it.
Great. It's great. Super positive note to end on here. Well, Steph, when we asked you who you thought you might want to join us in this space, you were pretty clear that you wanted to have Greg and Ann join us. How's it been here listening to them speak to really what has been in large part due to the partnership that certainly you had with Ann and now, with Greg here in phase 2. What are your thoughts on hearing their stories today?
It's always amazing to hear Greg and Ann speak about their stories, because the biggest portion that they've spoken about too, or like one big piece, was that being willing to accept that needing help factor, and reaching out and taking advantage too of letting down that wall of, okay, I need some help, and I'm going to utilize both the support of the group and also the coach on that weekly basis, and shifting and really changing everything that they're doing in a sense, and giving themselves this opportunity to experience something different and create a new outcome for their whole entire life. Hearing them speak about it is just always so inspiring. I feel like every time both Ann and Greg share anything about their journeys, in any of our groups or just in general, I just sometimes don't think they realize how inspiring they are to everyone that hears them talk. And sometimes you have people in groups say back to them, like, you are what motivates me right now in this moment. They inspire so many other people to make some of those hard, like Greg mentioned, some of those hard changes. There are things that, it's kind of a harsh reality, as Greg put it. There are some things that do need to change. But I think they just show just how many more benefits there are. And I don't think, like Greg said, being leery of saying sacrifice, I don't think it's a sacrifice by any means. It's a shift in what you're doing, and talking about the way they change how they're celebrating. Things aren't necessarily quite so food and drink like oriented anymore. You guys talk about in groups too, just the aspect of, I got to do this with my kids, I got to socialize with all these people, and I got to do all these different activities. It's such a shift when you're talking about even opening up more opportunities to just live life, enjoy things, being able to say yes to everything that you want to. It's amazing to hear you guys talk about it.
Well said, Steph. Really, really good. Yeah, it is hard work. We've sort of hit on that part, but really our theme here is, hopefully you agree, as those of you watching, that the hard work is worth it. And then we hope that this conversation, it really has been inspiring. Ann and Greg, thank you so much for taking us in to what your life was like beforehand and now with HMR. To our audience, I hope that this has been a grounding conversation for you if you're newer to the program, or if you've been around for some time, maybe regrounding you in the goals that you have for yourself, whatever they may be. Chances are they probably boil down to protecting some aspect or aspects of your quality of life. It's behind so much of why we all work so hard on our lifestyles. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate that. To our audience, thank you for being here. Please carve or save some time next week to join us again. We had some difficulty last week, technically, in our comfort food episode. We're going to come back and revisit that very important topic, the idea of discovering new recipes and combinations that can support you to stay on track, whether you're in phase 1 or phase 2, without feeling deprived. So Coach Kate and myself will be back next week. We hope you can join us. And with that, thanks again, guys, and have a great week, everybody.
Thanks for coming.